Make sure you all can hear me. If you would please go ahead and type the number 1 in the questions box so I know that you can. I would appreciate it. All right. There we go. Excellent. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all having a great day. How has trading been so far? How's the day been? Just trying to get everything going here as I'm asking the questions. I don't need to see the video with me in it. I am good. All right, let's get down to the bottom there. It has definitely been a choppy market, Linda, without a doubt. Morning, Helen. Sarah said, I'm staying away from trading until after the election now. Okay. As he said, thanks, Leslie. Chat, not questions box. I appreciate that. Thank you. Trader Will said doing Pop 5K. How's that working out today, Will? Suzanne said 2 good trades. One shouldn't have stayed out and took back a third, and the other gains. 2 good, 1 not good. Okay, so 2 good, 1 not good. All right, excellent. So it's an interesting day, Will, especially for a new strategy. If you're looking at, Pop 5K as a strategy, right? A new strategy, rather. It is definitely let's get a pad over here. It is definitely interesting to try to trade something new on a day like today. What do I mean? Well, look what the market's doing. I mean, where are we at right now? I mean, heck, we are down 70 points on the S&P, over 700 points on the Dow. We may make this another 1,000-point day today, right? Very well might happen. All right, so let's jump into it and then see what we can't figure out. So we got Monster Market Movers coming up Thursday night, which is the 29th. This Friday, Brandon at 9 a.m. is doing an options on futures training for everybody that's in the E-mini think tank. And we've got Trading You coming up on November 4th. And then the Inner Circle is November 19th. Here we are, Power Hour on Mondays, right? On Tuesday nights, 8 to 9 p.m. is when our mastermind group meets. And then Power Option Plays, E-mini Think Tank, and Covered Call Explorer are all on the docket for normal scheduled days this week. Here is a follow us page. If you are not, following us, then please go ahead and do so. Make sure that you follow us on all of the social programs so you can stay on top of everything that we do. And make sure with things like YouTube, you ring the bell and you subscribe to the content so you know when something new comes out, or else they will not show it to you most of the time. You'll make sure that you get everything that we do at that point. Leslie said, just got into Pop and tested it on Sunday. Fabulous results. Absolutely, Leslie. You will find our calls of what we do in Pop and then in Pop 5K are absolutely fantastic. We are kicking tail and taking numbers without a doubt on both Pop and Pop 5K. We're up 1,280,000 some odd or so. We were up 1,300,000. We gave some back. One Amazon trade went against us, 25 grand, but hey, we made 65 grand on Amazon a couple of days prior. So you can't worry that you gave 20 back at all. All right, let's go ahead and let me do a couple of things here. Let's bring up Trade Navigator. Let me go ahead and not what I wanted to do. Let's go bring up all symbols. Let's go to the S&P 500. I probably should move my keyboard over here, make it easier. All right, so here's the S&P 500, and we are on intraday data on Trade Nav. So what's happened? We came crashing down. Here is the absolute amazing point of it. Forget about everything historical of what's happened, right? We closed up here on Friday, right? We had the gap up. We pulled back to the 618. We pulled all the way back up, closed with a doji-like candle on Friday. Today, we gapped down back to where we were on Thursday's open, almost to the penny. Right? The high of today was 34.41.42. So we're talking about $2 difference to the 0.618. And a small little wick in there. We fell down. We broke the 33.98 level, the 3,400 level. We broke that, came back up, and we're at 33.98.01 right now. So go figure. We have pushed. I was trying to say pinned or pushed. We have pushed our way between the 618 and the 50 on this setup, right? That is how powerful these lines are. When I talk about having clear and concise entries and having targets and zones, that's what we're looking for. How powerful are the support and resistance levels that you're using, the zones that you're coming up with, the targets, the supports, whatever you're calling them, how powerful are yours in the grand scheme of things? In other words, do you see these types of things happening within yours? Now, I'm not saying we're done here today. We may push further down. We may stop right here. We may bounce. All I care about is right now we seem to have gravitated to that level, which gives us a 50 percentile pullback, right? Here's our move down, right? We made the run up here, gave us this gave us just an absolute perfect Fibonacci 4-step trade right back to here. And then where are we now? So we're back to half of the original move is where we're down, right? From where we ran, we're right back in that midpoint all over again now. 618.5, the two most powerful lines on that chart that you're looking at are those two, right? Can't hear you. All right, Gavin, are you able to hear me now? If you still can't hear me, then the answer would be no, probably, or nothing, right? All right, cool. All right, good. Glad you're able to hear us. Okay, so when we look at S&P 500, definitely getting smacked today. Now, this was only a 68-point drop from what we're looking at. It was a little bit more on TradeStation. If we look at the VIX, fear factor. Ooh, what happened? I was typing in TradeStation symbols. Oh, okay. So those of you in pop, since a couple of you have already brought it up today, I talked about that 3090, saying I did not want to go back above that 3090, and lo and behold, here we are today. I also talked a little bit over the weekend about elections, right? We're there, folks. We're right in the midst of this. Between elections, COVID, propaganda, BS coming out of politicians' mouth. How do you know the politician's lying? It's a very simple answer. Their lips are moving, right? Period, the end. Can't trust any of them. I don't care what anybody has to say about them, right? It's just a matter of choosing the lesser of two evils. We were talking with my youngest daughter last night, my wife and I. My wife said, "Are you voting?" She said, "I don't know." And I said, "Sabrina, why are you not voting?" And she said, "I just think it's sad, the choice of candidates that we have to pick from." I said, "Honey, I understand that, but remember, your most powerful right in this country is your right to vote, to choose who you want, who you believe should be the leaders of our country, whether it is your president, your senator, your assembly, whoever it is, right, to vote for that person." I don't know if I really convinced her or not last night. I don't see her interest. My older one, I believe, is going to vote. At least she has indicated she has. We'll see when it all comes down to it on the 3rd. But it's going to be interesting this next week to see what rolls out. And as some of I understand social media is trying to stop the propaganda, and then Twitter deleted some stuff and got in trouble for it. And they said, okay, if they catch something that they find not to be correct and they delete it, but someone has already shared it, they're going to leave the shares go. So I don't know. I really don't know. But the other thing was what came out. Did you guys see what came out today where they were talking about this? I don't know what it's Rule 230. I think is what it was called. That's the number though, 230. And basically it is the big companies. It's the Apples, it's the Amazons, it is these major size companies that they're talking about are too big for their bridges. They control the market, and they're talking about breakups of the companies, right? Google was one of them. Apple was one of them. Amazon was one. There were 5 or 6 companies that they had up there, right? Now, if that were to take place, that would be an interesting addition to this. All of this are bringing Google to court right now. I mentioned it last week, is part and parcel of it, right? Yeah, Karen says, yeah, and I hope they enforce it. I do believe that companies are too big. I like Facebook, but I think they are way too powerful for what they do. I think they are overcharging business users for what they do for them, especially when they make you pay for someone to see your content. I said it last week. We have 17,000 people on our Facebook group, and over 17,000. And I'll see a post we put up and it says 12 people saw your post. I'm like, really? We work hard to get those 17,000 people and I only get 12 of them to see the post. But a message pops up that says, and only for $10, you can have 1,300 more people see your post. Yeah, okay. Something just doesn't feel right. You know, it's kind of I'm pretty good judge of character. So the expression I use is when I shake someone's hand, if I feel I have to count my fingers, there's something wrong with that person, right? I just don't trust them as to what's going on. Karen said, I have friends getting censored. It's not their job. That's our problem. They're not the police. Yeah, no, I get it. Robert said they call Facebook, Twitter, and social media conducting election interference. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, they're conducting election interference. They sure are. And the sad thing is they've taken opinions as to who should become president. And that is the direction that they tend to be leaning in. I understand you may not like the president, and that's okay. And I understand you may not like how verbal he is, and that's okay. Remember, he's not a politician, okay? But if you are going to censor, you now have become a newspaper, and you fall under the guidelines of a newspaper, which means you must confirm every story before you allow it to be published. And if you don't, then you're in a lot of trouble. And that's the direction that it's going to get taken in. It has to. Someone needs to break a face and book his face. He should go to jail. I get it, Robert. In the old days, they would do something just like that, right? Someone would visit you, they'd have a talk, you would change what you were doing, or you'd find a horse head in your bed. That's the end of that. This action began in China and done by the government is now moving to the US. Absolutely, Barry. We are definitely seeing some of that. Yeah, Karen said we had/have guns. And our Second Amendment rights are probably one of the most important rights we have in the Constitution, because when the government gets too big for its bridges, it was meant that the people can take control back of the government if it became a dictatorship, a king, type rulership, this barren, as you would. Yeah. Yeah, Zuckerberg versus Cruz. That would be interesting, Karen. So right now, when we talk election woes, think about it. Think of what's going on. We're up and down, up and down. If we go back to the S&P, let me find my mouse here. We go back to the S&P, what's happening, right? We had this big drop down. We got a nice recovery in there. We go down a couple of days. We take a little bit of a bounce. We go down a little bit. And now what's happened? We went 1, 2, 3, 4 days. We were sideways. Those of you may remember the other night, I think we were in Mastermind Group. We talked about the midpoint of this large candle. When you have a candle 2 or 3 times the height of a normal candle, that becomes a resistance and or support, depending on which way it moved. In this case, it becomes a resistance because we move down and we tend to move back up in there. And if we look at that large candle right here, this is roughly the midpoint of it, roughly. And look at these 1, 2, 3, 4 days played very nicely on those highs, right? But Rob, it fell apart from there. Why didn't it stay up there then? Why didn't it break? Folks, this is all news-based. And what's happening is we're seeing a piling on of the news, right? Not only do you have the election news that's out there, you've got the foreign interference of what's going on, still election, but foreign interference of what's going on. You've got the announcements of more problems with COVID, right? And very selectively being put out there, in my opinion. All of this to mess with the election, I am sure. But we're going to have to deal with that for the next couple of days at this point, until the 3rd, which is what? We're about 7 days away or something like that at this point? Yeah, I think so. We're going to have to stay vigilant and focused on this. What does that mean? Swing trades, you're probably not going to do a whole lot of swing trades, a whole lot of directional trades. Don't get me wrong. I'm still doing my naked puts. I'm still doing some of my diagonal spreads. I've got ones that I'm underwater on one particular one where my option that I went long, I bought it for $5 and change. Right now it's $4 and change. So I'm down, call it $1. But on a weekly basis, I'm taking in 30, 40, 50 cents a week. And I've been writing this now for about 4 or 5 weeks. All right. So am I okay that it's down $1 from where it was? Yeah, I'm good. I've got all the way out until I think it's February. I think the long option is February. Right. And I just keep writing front week against it. Right. I did a bunch on Friday. I bought back my options for a penny, sold them out for this week. Oh, we get this big crash down. Beautiful. Look at how far ahead of the game I am. Right. I mean, some of my options are half of what I sold them for on Monday. They are on Friday. That's what they were today on Monday. It's half of what they were. So election woes, absolutely. How do we handle it? Either A, who had said it before? I don't remember if it was Karen. Someone had said that they were going to wait to trade again until after the election. So either set back, get in that mode, and just kind of chill, right? Or consider day trades. Consider day trades. Those of you that were in Pop 5K, right, that came to Pop the other day, that you came to the Mastering the Trade, and we had almost tripled the number of people in Pop, in power option plays in the last week, almost tripled it in the last week with the announcement of me doing Pop 5K. And all I really talked about it at was in the online classes I do here. I talked about it in Pop, of course, Covered Call Explorer, mastermind groups. We didn't really do a whole, we sent some emails out, but nothing crazy on it. And we had almost tripled our numbers in there. And one of the things we talked about were potential entries. If we were sitting right now, if this was a stock right now, closing price, meaning end of day, and it's not the S&P, it's the closing price of the stock itself. Tomorrow, would this be a potential trade setup for us? Give me a 1 for yes or a 2 for no. Let's see. That's a great point, Rob. Robert said, I think if someone's going to wait till after the election, they should wait until a winner is determined. That is going to be interesting to see how that pans out. If we actually get a winner announced or not. All right. No, I see that, Will. Absolutely. So, guys, there's a couple of different things that can happen here. We're set up at a location that we could actually get a continuation push down tomorrow, a move back up, and a fail. That would be a great consideration inside of here. All right. So those of you that were in the Pop 5K, I did send the manual off to my web developer today, so he'll get that manual posted. But that was 2 full hours we did of training just on Pop 5K, and I had 3 conversations since that meeting on Thursday night, and every one of them were, fantastic, just blown away on how much they got out of that training. And they didn't know that these are the types of things that we do in Pop. One of them, the other 2 were people that are hardcore. They're in there for a long time, right? Actually, Mary dropped a link in there if you want to see more about that. So, guys, I like where the location is right now. If we were closing right here, this would give us a potential setup for mañana, for tomorrow. This would be on my Pop 5K list. Now, it is the S&P. I get it. But just because we're looking at it, it's a tougher one. But just because we're looking at it, this is one to consider of how the location sets up and how we would trade this using all the rules I gave you on Pop 5K. So let me see. There's a couple of questions that I missed. Let me see. Breaking Your Face. I got that one, Robert. Thank you. Trader Will said, read the Declaration of Independence before you vote. Yep. I can see the reasoning. Oh my God. Yep, Jim, you got it. Let's see, Joan. If you go to YouTube, yeah, I don't know when that's from. Joan talked about a video of Biden calling Bush the president. I think everybody realizes there's some mental capacity issues that he's contending with right there. We've had other presidents that have been like that. Who was on today? The governor of New Hampshire was on today, and they're trying to bad. Massachusetts is trying to tax people that come to New Hampshire to work, and New Hampshire's a no state tax. So the governor is fighting it right now. And he was talking about what they're talking about doing with electricity and oil and gas and all of that stuff, and how bad it would be for his state and all the residents of their state. And so, you know, again, everybody has an opinion as to where it goes. No, Helen. So Helen's saying she got a message that popped up on Trade Nav. No. Data subscription is never a one-time charge. It's an annual or monthly charge for it. My suggestion is you go annual because of cost. It's a 30 somewhat % discount in cost. But yes, it is. It definitely is an annual subscription to that. The one-time cost that you're thinking of is the program itself. You own the program now forever. Let's see. Yeah, Robert said dusting off snow flurries today. All over the place, guys. All over the place. There's snow. I mean, I talked to someone that works with us out of Canada today on the West Coast rather. And she said they've got 5 inches yesterday. She built the igloo. And I talked to someone from Seattle yesterday, Friday. I talked to him and he said they had 3 or 4 inches already. Right. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening in the market right now. And I was a little bit late getting in before. And when I say late, normally about 10 minutes to I open up my Zoom. Now it's Zoom. What was my GoToWebinar? About 10 minutes prior is when I open it up. But I am managing a position, right? Or was managing a position, right? SPY has done a phenomenal today. What a great gap down. Certainly was not a gap fill. Made this nice run back up right into that 8 moving average. Failed under a major resistance level, support level. Failed. And what a run. I mean, it blew right through that support and it went right down to the next one. When someone says, you know, fib lines don't work or, you know, blah, blah, guys, they just don't have a clue what they're talking about, right? Look left is a phenomenal phrase that needs to be focused on. Yeah, no snow in Boise. But it was 18 degrees outside this morning. I'll take the snow, Sarah. Trader Will said he's got 4.5 inches with 8 degrees. That's in Denver. Wow. Yeah, I would too. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I told you, my wife, I've mentioned it over and over again. Now it's too late. My kids are too big. Their roots are here. They're not leaving, so I don't want to leave them. But I would leave New York in a heartbeat. I have no reason to be here, right? None whatsoever. My wife said, where do you want to go? I said, anywhere that is south and warm. You know, I can get to an ocean and an airplane. That's all I care about. Other than that, don't care, right? So my wife wanted to buy property in Arizona. I said, maybe, but no ocean there. So unless the Arizona somehow becomes waterfront property, then probably not happening. There you go, Robert. It's election season, so there are a lot of flakes out there. Yeah, Brandon's down in Florida, right? So they deal with all kinds of all kinds of weather down there. We have a house in Florida. It's Central Florida. It's in an area called Lake Mary. It was my dad's home. He got hit with storms, but never fear of the major storm hitting. He was so far inland that you got the rain, you got the wind, no question, right? And I fixed a lot of that stuff up. The house is, I mean, I spent a ton of money on fixing the house up once Dad passed, and brand new roof now. We got a wind mitigation test on it, cut our insurance in half on the house. So what are we looking at here? S&P 500, SPY, great positions today. When we look at, let's just go and sort by net change of some of the major stocks here. And you look at Booking is down $85 today, right? A lot of it was the gap down itself, right? Then Booking is down more than the S&P is. Google, I love the move that Google made today. Look at this, that gap down and that move back up. And if you compare this, let's see, this is 5-minute chart. Let me take this off and have no linking on this, right? So if we'll leave this one as Google, right? Let me do this. Okay. And let's go over here and change the rest of it to the S&P 500, okay? If you look at what happened, we dropped down on the market, right? This is S&P. We continued to push down. Google bounced up, right? We got a little bit of bounce going in here, and we went into this sideways move on the S&P. And here we are, about 1025 was the last candle before we start to fall apart. So let's go over here. Whoops, not what I want to do. Let's go over here and find 1025. There's a 1025 candle, no different. Now the Bollinger Bands are not there. I don't use them for regular trades. I use them for one trade setup only on a Friday. So 1025 is where we started to fall apart. Google gave you, again, you would be checking fibs and all that, but Google gave you a clear potential intraday setup today when we failed and pulled back. There was no way with some of the numbers they're talking about, how bad COVID is, that they're, I mean, did you guys see what they're talking about with Europe now? With COVID, they're talking about England, Italy, France losing 50% of their capacity again, having to shut down because of how bad COVID has gotten there. England saying the United States can't travel here by airplane, right? Blah, 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 blah. And yet they have gotten so bad right now. Not that we haven't. We're seeing increases in cases as well. So it's not that we haven't. We certainly have. We've got our own problems to contend with. New York is still, doing well as far as numbers go. But when you look at the entire country, not necessarily. Every one of these things we're talking about lead themselves into what's going on in the marketplace. Every one of them. They are frigging messing us up big time in the market. So either you sit back and let it go and just wait, or you plot out very specific, clear, and concise entries on day trades. I mean, what do I have here? Let me see. So on our top secret folder, our pop notes, I had 2 bullish trade setups as potential and 2 bearish trade setups as potential. Everything else was either earnings or day trades. That's it. Everything else was either an earnings trade or a day trade. That's all. Why? And we have no open trades at all right now that are swing trades. We got stopped out of everything over the last week. We had three open trades. They are all closed out now completely. And when I say stopped out, most of them stopped us out at the, we already had gotten out of some of the trade. One of them, who was it? United Healthcare. United Healthcare, we got stopped out with no exits. We didn't take any profits on the trade before. So we had 4 contracts go against us. All of our directional trades are 4 contracts. We're still higher number of contracts on our day trades, but not on our directional trades. Swing trades are all 4 contracts, right? If you look at Chipotle, and let me go ahead and put this back in. Why am I not connected? Oh, wait, I think it's global. That's why. I got it as global linking. Okay, there we go. So let's go look at Chipotle Mexican Grill. Chipotle dropped down, pushed right back into the moving averages. Has never, until just recently, as we get into lunchtime, has never closed back above the 8, right? So we're talking about a potential entry, call it 1320. And we're sitting now at 1303. I'm sorry, 1299. 1299 is where we're at. So you've got a $21 move to the downside, let's call it. All right? Probably not the worst thing that can happen to you. Let's see. So Jim said European countries are getting COVID, but are people dying? Young people are getting it in the US, but not dying or hospitalized. I guess it depends where you look at, Jim. I forgot where in the Midwest yesterday, they were saying they now had to medevac people from the hospital to another state because they had no more room left in their beds. So that doesn't mean anything. They could have 4 beds in the whole state for all I know, right? Just based on what they're saying. How bad is it here? I could tell you as a fact, the hospital my daughter works in, they don't have that many people in there, right? In New York State, we don't have that many people in the hospital compared to where we did last year. We were thousands of people a day. But we have made it above 1,000 people in the hospital now. They're not keeping anybody that they feel could go home and do this on their own. So you're right. We are seeing bigger numbers. And why are we seeing bigger numbers? We tested 225,000 people in one day in New York week ago, week and a half ago, something like that. So of course, if you test more, you'll see more. Before, we weren't testing as much. Didn't mean less people had it, just less people knew they had it. There's more people knowing that they have it right now. But the number that they came out with was 97.7% of all people will resolve without having to be hospitalized with COVID. So I understand it's a bad disease, but man, the flu's been messing with us for decades. Yeah, pressure cooker. Oh, on RTY? Yeah. Let's see. Who's that? Trader Will? Oh, yeah. Well, oh, yeah. Very much so. And look where it went, right down to the bottom there. Right? Great setup inside of there. Right? So we've had some really good moves to the downside today. Have we had anything moving up today? Amazon. I think that's because Amazon has said, government, if you come after us, we're just going to buy the United States. So you won't have anything to say any longer. I think that's what drove that up for them. But they had a really strong move early on and then gave it all back. So, yeah, exactly. All right. So, guys, let's do this. You tell me the stocks that you want to look at. Go ahead and tell me the stocks you want to check out. Let's see. Karen said, it's not a disease. They just call it that. It's just a cold. Yeah, a bad one, but it's definitely something that's going on. Let's see. Trader Will's asking for JD. So let's go and shift back over here. And just do it. There we go. All right. So we've got 80.53 and 86.58. So we've got about $6 in there. Our Fibit is 531. So we need to add a 118 inside of here as a Fibit. Look at that. Look what we were when we broke out of it, no less, right? So 83.55, 86.58 are resistance. The support is 80.5, right? And we're not quite there yet, but another day or two and that 21 will work its way up very close to the fib line there, right? So that's JD. Tripp's asking for AMD. We've got this. Oh, there we go. Okay, just takes a couple seconds for my intraday candle to load the very first time on Trade Nav, right? So I am going to take that out. Take that out. We used that the other evening when we were talking about Pop 5K. So we've got earnings coming up pretty quickly on a Trip, right? So be very cautious with anything, even the day trades. Be cautious. Make sure you're checking the cost, the value of the options compared. I mean to say compared. There's no L in compared to the fair value of the option, right? So overall moving averages were bullish. We were. Let's see. It looks like we might be slightly underneath 82. No, we're right at the 21 moving average. So we're pretty close. So we're looking at an upside of 87.25 and a downside of 79, right? Can you, so here you go, Trip. Let me ask a question again for those that were in Pop 5K. If you got down below the 21, and rather the 8, the pink line, and the market was failing, would you be okay to take a directional trade bearish on AMD? All right, so getting a mixed bag, too much support at 79. Well, and that's what we're looking for. Where's our support, right? So we would break down below 82. We've got support at 79. That's $3. A one-day move is about $3. When we look at the Fibit, it's 585. So half of that is the Wilders. So we've got the room for it. Would it be considered a little bit more aggressive? Yes, absolutely. Is the 8 more than 25% below, Amos? That's a good point because visually it didn't look like it. But you could be right. Yeah, we are. And that's what I was basing everything of asking that question on, is where does the 8 fall? And we are definitely below. So no, that's what I was looking at. I thought that was less than 25%. So good catch. Sorry there, guys. Good catch on that, Amos. Let's see. Yeah, good eyes. You're getting some kudos there for that, Amos. Good. Good. Let me go back up. I'm missing some of the symbols. We got AMD in there. Hope that helps, Trip. Netflix. All right, so we wanted to take a bearish position on this if we can get a pullback. We got close with the wick, but probably really not where we want to be to take that trade. So right now, the potential bearish is 466 on Netflix, right? Potential 466 is a downside target and 500 on the upside. Of course, there's that 487, but we're sitting right there now. All right, so Roman, I hope that helps. Charles was also asking for AMD. Oh, there you go, Microsoft. And I like the comment there. Who was that, Joan? Yes, and I know they have earnings on Tuesday. Good, good. So let's see. Fib is good. It's got to be extended. I like where the fib is. Folks, I don't know how else to say it, but when you combine the system that I use together, the 8 and the 21, moving average, both exponential, the 55, which is the brown line, also exponential, and the Fibonacci levels, you've got some extremely powerful levels that we work off of. If you look, let me grab a mouse instead of there's a pointer instead of a line. So if you look, today we hit a high of a fib line. We opened at a moving average. The bottom of our body went to which is where it's sitting right now, a moving average. Guys, every one of these levels have importance that are up there. But Rob, I've heard it that if you've got so many lines on your chart, sooner or later it's going to hit something. It doesn't quite work that way. Okay, yes, if you were just throwing lines, but these lines are there for a purpose, for a reason. There's a reason we use the fib levels the way that we do. There's a reason that we use the moving averages the way that we do. And it's not just to do it, it's to do it for the purpose of having the right set of indicators working in conjunction. Now, that does not mean that you cannot be successful if you're not using my indicators. Absolutely not. There are a million different ways that you could trade. This is just the way that I have found for me, right? And let me ask you this. And some of you may still feel this today. How many of you feel or felt? How many of you either feel now or felt previously that you thought, whatever you wanted to call it, that you had to be good at math to be able to trade the stock market? Just give me a 1 for yes. Okay, got some of you. Oh, let me move down. I'm not seeing them anymore now. Okay. Actually, it's quite a few of you. Okay, it's quite a few of you. Here's the thing. How many of you, give me a 3, just one answer, 3 if the answer is yes. How many of you were not that phenomenal student in school? You weren't that straight A student. You were kind of the average to even, that C to D, maybe a B once in a while. Your parents would be ecstatic that you got a B once in a while. How many of you were that in school? Okay, quite a few as well. All right. You will find it comforting to know. Right, there you go, Jim. You'll find it comforting to know, maybe you will, that I was a C student in school. I was not a brainiac. I was not a math person. Now, my A's came in shop class, right? And not because of, oh yeah, well, they gave you, no. I worked hard. I busted my buns. I got the Industrial Arts Award in high school. The only award I ever won in my life from school was that. Couldn't win a spelling bee or a math bee, or couldn't sing, couldn't act. I was good at sports, but I worked full time and went to school full time. So I had no way that I could play sports. So I didn't get any trophies or any of that stuff there. But when it came to shop, I was really good at it. Guys, I was a C student. We had over 800 students graduate in my year of high school. I graduated Franklin K. Lane High School in, Well, I was going to say in Brooklyn, but that's not true. It just depends where you're standing. Part of the school's in Brooklyn, part of it's in Queens. And I graduated like 450 or 80 or something like that out of 800, right? I was a C student. I was nothing special. You needed 40 credits to graduate. I got 40 and a half. Each class was a half a credit. And I knew exactly how many credits I had and where I was at. I would cut out of the other classes. I just made sure that I got everything I had to do so they couldn't leave me back. And I put one extra class in there that I passed. So just in case they made a mistake, I didn't have to stay back for another 6 months to go back to school, just so I could graduate, right? You don't need to be a brainiac to do this, right? But you need to find a system that works. And Will typed it in when I said, you don't have to trade my system. You could trade somebody else's system. It doesn't matter. Where was it? Too many comments have gone away. There we go. Trader Will said, yeah, but you're up $1 million+ for the year, right? And that's kind of what I'm getting at is be careful who it is that you're listening to. Now, remember, everything we talk about is non-funded trades, right? We always go through that. But when you look at nothing more than power option plays, and I tell you, here's the day trading rules. This is how you trade it. When I tell you on Netflix, bearish with the pullback to the 8, aggressive. We're looking for a bearish trade. If it pulls back to the 8 and fails, aggressive, we're taking 4 contracts. The only other thing I could do for you is pull the damn trigger for you. I'm giving you everything in there. So I'm calling these trades out. So when we get back together at the next video, I pull this tracking sheet out right here, and I read from this sheet to see what is it that we said we were going to do. And we go down every one, and I go through and explain whether we did or did not take the trade based on what we saw happen. That's it. That's it. Period. The end. That's exactly what we're looking for, right? The opportunity to be successful in the market is there. You just have to make sure that you do not get stuck in what you think you know compared to what someone else does know. If you're following along with what Brandon does, then man, just dig into everything that Brandon does. If you're following me, if you're following Tony, dig into everything that it is that we do. Everything that we do. Just immerse yourself in it. Let's see. Yeah. So, well, you know, Robert, you do have a valid point. Okay. Robert said you did have to be good at fractions to trade. And Robert is right. You really had to have an understanding of what fractions meant. And I know what some of you are saying. Yeah, but Rob, what does that mean? I mean, you know, a fraction. Okay. So what are we talking about there? 1/4. I got it. I know what a quarter is. 25 cents, right? That wasn't when your bid and ask is $127.5364 by $127 let's call $128 just so I don't mess it up, right? $128 and 213.256. By the time you did the math, the market had already moved and you couldn't figure out what the price was anyway, right? And that's the level we had to deal with some of the garbage sometimes, right? So I get you, Robert, for that. You're right, knowing fractions, but most things traded in eighths, right? Which were easy enough to figure out. But I did not have to know calculus. I did not have to know geometry. I didn't have to know any of that stuff. And that's good because I didn't pass any of that stuff at all. Actually, calculus was the reason I dropped out of college. Let's see. Mechanical drawing and wood metal shops. So fun. Building go-karts, mini bikes. Yeah, I was very entrepreneurial in high school. Well, I made stuff that I could sell. A lot of keychain baseball bats, stuff like that. Charles said some people used to be all about fundamentals, which didn't always make sense, now have gone to technicals, right? Because the fundamentals, listen, if I'm trying to day trade, short-term swing trade, unless earnings are coming out, the fundamentals aren't changing. They're not. Unless there's a buyout or something or really bad news, a CEO is fired, the chief accountant guy, is terminated for stealing. Other than that, Trader Will said that I'm usually sad when I miss what you put on the sheet. Okay, yep, I get it. Brendan said, I went away for a few minutes. What did I miss? Oh my God, Brendan, you missed the secret to the universe. Sorry. And we said it would be top secret. We weren't going to repeat it again. Barry said there's a lot of simple arithmetic here. The advanced mathematics like calculus, trig, does not seem to be present. Not at all. You're right. You don't know the math of Black-Scholes? Yeah, I don't, and I don't need to know it. Exactly. That's what the option chain is for. Karen said, the only thing about being an A student is that I could do the math in my head. The thing I found, Karen, most interesting, and I wish I knew this phrase when I was in high school. I could have used it for my mom, who did not like that I was a C student. The expression I was told was that the A students go on to work for the B students. I'm sorry, the A students go on to become teachers, and the B students go on to work for the C students. I'm the C student. I'm the one with the business. Do you trade earnings? How do you deal with earnings like this week? So SB, we trade earnings on futures. So what we basically do, and yes, this week is phenomenal, right? Trip, have you ever traded earnings on stocks using futures before? Trip said a few times. Trip has mastered more than anybody else how that works. So what we basically do is when an Amazon or a Facebook or a major NASDAQ stock, someone that's big in the NASDAQ industry, comes out and announces earnings, most of them are after the market closes, we trade the futures. So we'll come over here and we will trade the NASDAQ, which is the NQ. And we'll trade it in the after hour session where, so if they close at, 4 o'clock is when the market closes, but these are open almost 24 hours a day. So we'll wait for that announcement to come out on Netflix or the announcement to come out on Amazon and Facebook and look to trade around that announcement. That is the biggest way that I tend to trade those today. Yeah, Brenda, sure. Let's take a look at the Qs. All right. So NASDAQ itself getting crushed today, right? And look where we were. We pushed down, we ran up, we failed at that 2. Here, watch. Hey, let me do this. Let me ask this. All right. Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Sarah had said you learned 2 very important things from math you use in trading every day, neither of which is actually math, pattern recognition, and logical analytical thinking. I agree. All right. So I made sure I got all the questions. I didn't miss any questions in there. I don't think I did. So if you guys are willing to participate here and tell me, yes, you want to see it, would you want me to look at this at the Qs and go back in there and use some of the Pop 5K way that I would analyze this and what I would be looking for this morning when this market opened up, whether I would consider taking this trade or not? If you want to see that, type the number 1 in the questions box. If you don't type anything in the questions box. There are hundreds of you in here. We better see some serious numbers showing up if you want me to do it. All right, so all I see are ones on the screen. Brenda's trying to really help the cause, and Amos by putting multiple ones in there. Amos, you're being sneaky there. 1, 1, 1, 1 on multiple lines, 1 on each line. Okay, all right. So here's what we're going to do. All right, we got enough time? Yeah, we better, since I said we're going to do it and I got you to participate. So what do I need to see? All right, first thing is I'm going to bring this in a little bit on Zoom, on the Zoom of it. And let's go here. All right, this is where we were yesterday. All right, so we were pinned between these 2 moving averages and that fib line where there's a confluence of the 21 fib line, the 21 moving average, green line, and the fib line just down below it, whatever that is. We'll look at the actual number in a moment. So if I were analyzing this last night, which is when I do my analysis, this would be me. Of my 3 phases of do I take a trade or my excitement level in a trade, this is me. This is the equivalent of an Italian sitting on their hands. My hands are behind me, and I'm half Italian. Not the Roy half, my mother's half, right? My hands are behind my head. Why? I can't use them on the keyboard. I'm very relaxed. The next phase is sitting up when something's getting ready to happen. And the third phase is on the edge of my chair, right? I'm getting ready to place the trade. All right. Well, this morning we opened up, and if we put our mouse on today, we opened at 282.32, right? So the open is 282.32. I'm just writing that down. I am going to bring us current at this point. My fib line is 282.59. I do need to back it off one day again. My 21 moving average yesterday was 283.33. Okay. And then my next target is 277.65, which is my fib line. And one more time, just because we're so close, I just want to see what it is. My 55 EMA is 277.03. Wow. Okay. So I've got a lot of numbers that I jotted down, right? If you could read my chicken scratch, there it is. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers that I put down there. Let's go over to TradeStation. Let's go over to QQQ and let's open this up, right? Full chart. I am going to snap in place a line. That line is going to be my Fibonacci level, 282.59. So I'm going to click on it, change that number to 282.59. Right? There's my 282.59. We gapped down below it and pushed right back up above. That 282.59, as we said, was the fib. Fib line. Okay, beautiful. Now what? We had at 283.33, we have the 21 moving average. 283, nope. All right, let's try that again. 283.33. Right, there's our 21 EMA. EMA. Okay. So you could see, and these were both from yesterday. So what am I looking for? When I look at these two lines, I really don't have it where this line is close enough for me to have a confluence, right? We're looking at, I mean, it's $1 apart is all it really is, but look at how big visually this is on the screen. So I am not really excited about calling that a confluence, but you could see that here. Over here, it looks nice. But when I'm looking at the intraday charts for a day trade, I'm not as excited about those being together, right? We could draw a blue box inside of there. Right? To try to time together as a confluence if you want, but really not excited about it, okay? So what am I looking for? Well, now, did we get a break? Let me grab a pen. Did we get a break? Come on, there's the draw tool. Right here, probably need something a little bit lighter. Let's try white. Okay. When we got the break of this line, now we got one right here. The wick came down here and we stretched right back up again. We pulled up, and some would say, but Rob, we're pretty close to the moving average. So could we take the trade here? You still have this line to contend with right here. That fib line is still very important, right? What happened here? You got the break down below that fib line, that 282.59 level. And I'm just looking left to see what the number was. 282.59. Right, 282.59. Right? And I'm looking at that, so we broke, but we never got a real good retest of it. Ideally, I want to see a break, a retest, and a fail. Now, this may have worked out on a 1-minute chart, right? So we could, now I would have both charts open at one time, right? If I was looking at this when the market opened, so 282.59, right? And we're looking at what time period? Let's clear that off. And let's see. That candle ended in 10:50. And that's when the ending candle was, not when the candle started. That's when the candle completed at 10:50. So let's go back to a 1-minute chart. and let's go find 1050 this morning. So 1050 is right there, right? Actually, let's do this first. We need to snap that same line in. I forgot it wasn't on this chart. So we're looking at 282.59. Some of you say, well, Rob, you already had the 282 in there. Couldn't you just change the cents? It's easier for me not to play games with that, okay? Much easier for me. When I look at the 1 minute chart, I love how well we played on this line. Down, down, down. Had a nice sideways move. We finally broke. Right now, I really want to zoom in on it and back up to it. Okay, so let's go find 1050 is right here. That's our 1050 candle, which means we're going to go back to the 1046. Let's see. 50 for that one right there should be the 46. It is. And then the 1050 candle is right here. All right. So if we were at 282.59 is our support level, we broke it, right? We got down as far on a low of 282.42. So 17 cents below. We opened up on this candle at 282.45. 45, 55. We've got 14 cents difference between that resistance level and that opening price of that candle right there. Would that be, well, let me ask instead of me answering it, would that be a potential entry point to take the trade that we were 14 cents away from that resistance level? 1 for yes, 2 for no. I wouldn't be using the moving average today. Well, it was the 21 is what we were looking at. So I just wouldn't be using it in my calculations. Yep, that's it. Just a little too high is all it was. Well, exactly. Absolutely, Amos. As far as where stop goes, we didn't even get to that part. As far as where stop goes, absolutely, right? But Amos typed in potential entry with the stop. You know, I won't go into where he said on stopper right now, but yes, here's the whole thing, right? Here's the biggest part of this right now, all right? And I didn't get as many answers as I thought I would in there. So don't listen. Always remember, you will never be chastised by me. I will never say, oh my God, you actually said that? You really think that way? I'm here to help you, not to do damage. I've had enough of that through my lifetime of people telling me how much I sucked at everything I did and I would never be successful at anything that I did. And you want to know the most rewarding experience ever was when a previous boss of yours that told you would never be successful walks into your office for a job interview. And before he sits down, you said, I'm sorry, George, you just don't have what it takes. You would never be successful at anything you do here. You can go. True story, by the way. All right. Sarah said I was on vacation. We did the 5K webinar. Just soaking it up in for now. Okay. So here's the thing. All right. Keep something in mind. What I am looking for in an ideal world, if I grab a pen now, I know I'm getting a little bit close to time there, guys. Sorry about that. But color, we'll keep white. We got a break right here. Right? I would love to see a retest, right? A break and a retest. We broke fairly nicely. We didn't really get too far down there, and we opened up just slightly higher, 3 or 4 cents higher than it closed, and we started to fail. So based on that 1 minute candle, that would have been a potential entry right there. So if we look at that let's call it 282.5, right? Just to make it, or 282.25 as an entry, right? Where are we right now? We're talking about 278.5. So call it 282.5 to 2. There we go. 282.5 down to 278.5. You got a $4 move on the Q so far today. Now, would you have stayed in with it? Probably not. Okay. But even if you got taken out over here, getting in at 282.5 and getting stopped out at 281. I don't think that's a bad thing at $1.50 move in an hour and a half period. No, actually, these are 1 minute candles. I wouldn't have been using this to make that analysis. So let's back up over here. So we took the entry of the trade. Was there anything here that got me out of that trade? Well, if I got into 282.5, right, potentially that might have at 281. So same place, right? I would not normally get scared out on this after that move. We only got one candle closed above the 8. We popped back down. We came up, we got here, possibly here, but not really. If I get 2 candles above the 8, absolutely. If I see 2 climbing candles that are green, consecutive, absolutely. But you've got a great move overall in the position here. Folks, Sarah, when you said you were out of town, I think it was Sarah, that you were out of town. Yeah, you were out of town and you didn't get to the Pop 5K. So many did, and I know so many more wanted to and just didn't realize it. They didn't see an email or they weren't in this class that week when we were talking about it, right? Keep in mind, that is a recording. That is something that is part of Pop at this point, of Power Option Plays. And my suggestion to you is this. It's already loaded up there. We offer a 2-week trial. If you haven't taken the trial before, we offer a 2-week trial into Power Option Plays, okay? And if you've taken Power Option Plays before, email Amelia and talk to her. She's got something for you guys as well, right? We got a 2-week trial into Power Option Plays. That 2-week trial, go in there and watch everything that's there. Watch Secret Sauce, watch Pop 5K. That's 4 hours. 4 hours of how to trade the market using my strategies. Not to mention the other 30 hours of stuff that's up there, right? Take advantage of it. If in 13 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds later, you decide that you do not want to continue, just send us an email. Tell us, hey, we haven't charged your card. Hey, I'm not interested. I appreciate it, but it's not for me. We'll take you off the list. No harm, no foul. But guys, if you want to learn how to trade what we're going through right now, that's what Pop 5K is all about. Everything that's inside of there is designed for this type of smaller account, this type of market it works extremely well with, which means it will also work extremely well with a strong directional market as well. Let's see. As long as it keeps making lower highs and lower lows, I'll stay with the trade. There you go. Exactly. And then, yes, Brenda. So when we're looking for that next support, which we said our support level was 277.03. If we don't hit that 277.03 before the end of the day, right about 3:45 p.m. today, there's a timed exit in on TradeStation. I put that in there and I'm out of that trade at 3:45 p.m. Done. Don't even have to be around to watch it. I've got some things that I'm trading right now and I'm out of here. I'm done. Well, I've got one meeting after this and I've got to run out to something outside that I've got to take care of. I don't have to be here. If I'm not back, my timed exit is in place. I'm taken out of the trade. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Awesome. What did you guys think? Did you like the class today? And remember, guys, there's no cost to getting into this quarterly subscription. It's a trial. It's zero. You don't get charged anything on your credit card. Okay, those of you that were in Pop 5K last week, what did you think? Those that came to Pop 5K, Trader Will said, great stuff. Trip said, wow. Trip's one of them that I spoke to. Trip's part of our mastermind group. So he has, basically, easy access to me via text message and phone. Trip said, wow, all capital letters, exclamations, excellent. From Linda, Amos, it was amazing. Brendan said, class was awesome. Thank you, Rob. Suzanne said, it's refining my stuff for sure. Good. Patricia said, Pop 5K was fantastic. Good, Patty. Trader Will, I'm up paper $800 since last week. Yeah, and that was from Thursday night. Kyle said, 4 aha moments for me. See? Barry said, some useful insights for lower prices. Good. Excellent. So, folks, I'm going to leave the room open for a little bit so you guys can jump in, grab the links that Amelia dropped in the chat box, and I can see them on my laptop here. I can also see them in the chat box here. They're gone because so many people have typed in comments and questions and points. that I can't see it, but I could see it on the one where I'm a student, where I'm logged in on a laptop. So I can see what you guys see all the time to make sure what you're looking at. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great rest of your day. God bless. Stay focused on the quest to becoming a great trader. Keep crushing it. And remember, folks, you're just one trade away. Take care. See y'all soon.